I'm President Grant, 18th President of the United States of America, from Point Pleasant, Ohio. General in the Union Army appointed under Abraham Lincoln, veteran of the Mexican-American War, and I'm here to talk to you about my leadership style.
Welcome to our discussion on leadership with one of America's most impactful figures, Ulysses S. Grant.
Today we'll explore how Grant's actions, decisions, and personal qualities reflect key leadership concepts, focusing on the bases of power, influence tactics, and leadership approaches he used to guide those around him.
Joining us is General Grant.
Thank you for having me.
General Grant, historians say that your authority came from both your expertise and your rank. What do you think about this?
I would say my authority began with my rank, Lieutenant General in the U.S. Army, and that I had a lot of responsibilities in this role, and that kind of helped me step into leadership in the beginning, and then much of which I carry from that is with me today.
This is known as legitimate power, which is authority from one's formal position. General Grant was appointed to this position by the Honorable Abraham Lincoln and was the first to hold such rank since George Washington. This position of authority includes coercive powers and reward powers. This legitimate power in action is when he ended the Civil War. A quote from American Express PBS. As commander, Grant worked to constantly occupy Robert E. Lee's rebel army in the east, while Union troops struck at the heart of the South, destroying homes, farms, and factories, and other Southerners' willingness to fight. Grant's plan worked, and on April 9, 1865, he accepted Lee's surrender. 4 years of Civil War ended, and Grant was the hero who had achieved the victory.
While you had this form of power, your influence went beyond your rank. You were respected for your knowledge in the field.
Yeah, so I observed the officers and always listened before I spoke. My staff liked to say that I could be assigned as a sphinx until I was ready with questions, and I also knew when to pursue the enemy, which happened during my experience with the Mexican-American War, and this allowed me to be an expert strategist on the battlefield, and as I always like to say, be quiet, you learn to listen.
This reflects expert power, which is a basis of power resulting from expertise or knowledge in specific areas or tasks. This, coupled with legitimate power, creates a strong leader who can rely on the combination of power to legitimize their position.
Sir, supplies are running short and the enemy has pinned us, General.
We need to make sure there's a nearby supply route. We need to make sure our troops are well stocked and have a way out. I ran into a problem in Monterey during the Mexican-American War just like this.
Grant used legitimate power and expert understanding to make confident decisions. Grant's memory for terrain was photographic. One staff officer observed that after one hard look at a map, he could follow its features without referring to it again. Besides, he possessed an almost intuitive knowledge of topography and never became confused as to the points of the compass.
General, how did you influence your officers and troops in critical moments?
I relied on the facts, the terrain, location of our enemy, and the strength of our positions.
But you also pushed your troops to be the best.
When movement was necessary, I pressed for it. Hesitation is only costly in critical moments.
We can tell by the way Grant talks in his interview that he's using rational persuasion, which is using logic and evidence to gain cooperation. And he's also very assertive, clear, and persistent in the direction he wants to go with his orders.
Sir, the troops are exhausted. We must wait till tomorrow to move.
No, we have to strike now.
But sir,
That's an order.
His assertiveness kept the momentum going. Hesitation could have cost the Union Army. A quote from History.com says, "He brushed off setbacks. Most of us thought that the next day we should recross the river. A captain in a Massachusetts regiment remembered, but when the order came, by the left flank, march, we found that Grant was not made that way and must continue to the fight." Sherman likewise celebrated Grant's decision. When Grant cried, "Forward," after the Battle of Wilderness, I said, "This is the grandest act of life. Now I feel that the rebellion will be crushed," I wrote him, saying it was a bold order to give, and it showed the mettle of which he was made. This quote demonstrates the assertiveness that Grant applied to his tactics on the battlefield. He not only continued to push the enemy, but crushed their aspirations, which is why Grant was promoted in the first place. Unlike his previous counterparts, General Grant had the mettle within him to pursue victory.
General Grant, many stories highlight how you care for your soldiers. Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, so a leader must look out for his men. I listened to them, fought for their needs, clarity, direction, supplies. Whenever I could, I tried to lift up their spirits. I mean, how can you expect your men to look out for you if you're not looking out for them? Especially you're in like a military environment. I wouldn't help my boss in a normal setting if he weren't looking out for me, and I'm trusting my life with these guys, so I need to look out for them.
This shows servant leadership, which is when the leader prioritizes the needs of the followers. We see this is very important and prominent to Grant as he states in his interview, trust is key in wartime situations. To go along with this, we have a quote from Sean Murray of Real Time Performance. He states, "He never relied on his rank or uniform to command the respect of others. He earned respect through his leadership and willingness to walk among the soldiers, talk with them, and listen." Once again, a great model of Grant's servant leadership.
Sir, the rations are short again.
I know it's tough, but I'll speak to the quartermaster myself and make sure you get what you need.
Grant built trust and showed care for his troops. This is a great example of Grant's ability to be a servant leader.
General Grant, as many of you know, you have the ability to demonstrate a wide range of leadership behaviors. You use full-range leadership while serving as a general. Can you tell us what was your best way of doing this?
Yes, so you must motivate and inspire others, but you must also enforce discipline and guidance. So a disciplined man is sharp and can do a job on their own, and then my job is to get a person to the point in which they're disciplined.
This is a great example of full-range leadership. Grant was a textbook transformational leader. He engendered trust, focused his troops on a specific goal, and developing leaders within his subordinates. This third trait was especially important during the Civil War. He needed to be able to trust others to do small things to focus on the big picture. Murray states once again, the higher one rises, the further one gets from the ground truth. He had to select the right subordinates for the job and give them the authority to exercise the initiative in their area of responsibility. This meant that Grant also had to be a careful observer of the strengths and weaknesses of his subordinates.
You have proved your strength. Move quickly, strike decisively, and together we will secure victory. I believe in every one of you.
Ulysses Grant exemplifies how strong leadership is built on clarity, competence, and character.
Through legitimate and expert power, influence tactics like rational persuasion and assertiveness, and leadership approaches such as servant leadership and full range, Grant demonstrated effective leadership under pressure.
Know your mission, care for your people, and always move forward.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for learning about my leadership styles, and to leave you with a fun fact, I'm the only president to ever be arrested when I was speeding with my horse around the White House.
Sir, the troops are exhausted.